The role of compliance in higher education has grown considerably over the last 20 years. In 2012, Montgomery College was one of the first community colleges in the nation to establish a compliance office and has kept up with the growth of its oversight roles. It now has a staff of 5 and is responsible for oversight, monitoring, and coordination of regulatory compliance. As higher education regulations have ballooned over the last decade and enforcement has become more comprehensive, the work of compliance has become more complex. Failure to comply can result in fines, regulatory sanctions, or the risk of reputational damage.
Well, you've probably seen on the news information about a number of schools that weren't in compliance with various areas, particularly with the federal government. They didn't take any money away from them necessarily, but they cut off their eligibility to continue giving federal financial aid to students. And that basically caused the schools to close. If 90% of your support is coming from federal financial aid for your students and you don't have it anymore, you're not going to be enrolling students.
Currently, the penalties through the Department of Education are a civil penalty. That's a $35,000 fine for any violation of Clery reporting. And that could be each incident. So if there are 2 incidents that aren't reported, that's a $70,000 fine that the institution could face. In addition, there are obviously some secondary penalties in terms of funding.
Compliance is now a field to which institutions of higher education devote significant time and resources. MC has undertaken dozens of processes that have reduced risks in several areas. New standards, policies and procedures better protect minors on campus, ensure that crime is reported quickly, and enable employees to report fraud without fear of retribution. Significant efforts are made in establishing awareness of the rules among employees through education and training.
Education and training are critical to a robust compliance program. Without education and training, our employees and students would not know how to report instances of sexual misconduct and would not know how to seek help when there is an incident on campus. My role in particularly educates both students and employees on their reporting responsibilities.
The college now has working groups for areas of highest compliance risk, such as Title IX and Clery crime reporting. Such groups respond appropriately to any compliance omissions.
Compliance in the Department of Public Safety really centers a lot around the Clery Act. That's the primary legislation that we follow in terms of reporting requirements to the Department of Education. That legislation was passed by Congress in 1990, and it mandates that campus public safety officials, including security or law enforcement on campuses, report all crime incidents, major crimes, and they've enumerated what they are, to the Department of Education annually. Being compliant helps everyone understand, number one, what the roles and responsibilities are. They also know what the resources are. We find that students or victims, particularly of sexual assault crimes that are happening in and around our campuses, don't always know where to go for assistance. And so part of our charge is not just reporting crime statistics, but also providing support, education, awareness. And I think once we get that information out, students feel more comfortable, obviously parents feel more comfortable, and they can make better and more informed decisions about their own personal safety.
Title IX is considered among the highest compliance risk for colleges, according to MC's Office of Compliance Program Report. In August of 2016, there were over 200 institutions of higher education under investigation for Title IX violations nationwide.
Title IX reports both to federal and state entities. And particularly on the federal level, if the college were to be investigated, we would report directly to the U.S. Department of Education, Office of Civil Rights. On the state level, we are mandated by MHEC to do a sexual violence climate survey every other year.
There has been growth in reporting requirements. Specifically in 2013, the Violence Against Women's Act, VAWA, also mandated that we add additional Clery reporting crimes, and those include dating violence, domestic violence, and stalking. And so that's a direct impact of those amendments to legislation. and also the result of what we're seeing on campuses.
While the goal of our institution is 100% compliance, the nature of the field is such that new areas of compliance are always arising. But at the heart of compliance is nurturing an organizational culture in which ethical behavior and integrity are fundamentally rooted in the workplace.
The laws are there because they're not designed to hold anything over our heads. They're in place because it's the right thing to do. And one of the things that we are committed to doing at Montgomery College is ensuring that we are doing the right things.